All right. Hopefully that is loud enough. Hopefully that is clear enough. What's up, guys and gals in the house? We got Azure Eyes, fellow member and brother. What's up? Golden Freak, Vader Cool Studios. What is going on? I'm going to be doing this before my bedtime, actually. So I basically have to get ready for a drive to Pittsburgh. I'm going to visit my other friend, John. Not the John that you guys know, but one of my best friends since kindergarten. And he's in Pittsburgh. That's where he's located. He's in the Navy, so he's out there. And I'm going to be driving over tonight in the AM. So basically, once I do this stream, I got to knock out and sleep for a little bit of a drive. But yeah, Matthew Webster, what's up? Thunders Productions, what is up? So I figured I would jump on here for a little bit and just kind of shoot the shit with the chat, do a hangout event. We can kind of discuss some Resident Evil 9 rumblings that have been going around. I did a video on it, but I also figured, all right, let's talk a little bit more about it with this potential PlayStation showcase that we're just kind of waiting to see if we get a date for. And it's very funny because a lot of the rumblings, the one thing that seems to be accurate is the actual PlayStation event that may be happening. So we'll see. Resident Evil 9 will have turd monsters confirmed. Leon at Taco Bell before his shift and the outbreak happened. Yeah, that's you could say anything now, and it's like it's confirmed. It's confirmed. Quentin, what's up? Another Quentin in the house. Revelation, what's going on? Great discussion this week. How's everyone? Yeah, it's been gaming has been nuts. There's even more Xbox stuff that's been coming out as well, which is not good news at all. You know what I mean? But Tango Studios has closed as well. I was going to talk about that a little bit. Apparently, RE9 is going to be at Southeast Asia island inspired by Singapore. Yeah, that's the latest leak that a lot of people are mentioning. Resident Evil 9 and a Southeast Asia island inspired by Singapore, huh? So that's kind of where we may be heading if they decide to, kind of give us a switch up of us for the setting. Look, I'm not completely against that for Resident Evil 9. I just think that, we have to have good writing, and these characters and the continuation of said characters need to be completely, not ignored and actually acknowledged. Stevie Mack, what's up? Says Game Pass. Bryant's in the house. Goodbye, Evil Within 3. Hopes, though, I still get to play a sequel. Well, yeah, that's actually been... I guess we can kind of talk about that a little bit here. Tango Studios has closed, and even though it already happened a few days ago at this point, as far as like me talking about it, it does suck to see, not only Microsoft closing studios, but Tango Studios, and Shinji Mikami simply put sad on Twitter. I mean, not that he could say much at this point, because I think Shinji Mikami definitely knew that this was going to happen. I think they approached him and they said, look, Microsoft's going to be shuttering these studios. Here's your ticket out of here. We're just letting you know. And that's when he stepped down and founded his own company, which is good because, I mean, I still want the guy to work. I still want him. I still know that he has, more games in him. You know what I mean? So the new studio that he has, let's see, Kamui Studios. So that's his new studio production. Again, I'm probably butchering it. So people, I know the critics will come out and say, well, you can't even say his studio right. Yeah, sorry about that. But not having Evil Within 3 does suck. And the fact that Hi-Fi Rush was an actual hit, and apparently, according to today, they were actually pitching a sequel to Hi-Fi Rush before they realized that they were actually getting shut down, which is a real bummer when you really think about it, because there's so much potential, because I enjoyed Hi-Fi Rush. So Bethesda, I think Evil Within is still with Bethesda technically. So I don't know if, Shinji just it can make an Evil Within. He's not going to anyway. He's going to make something else. I didn't play Ghostwire Tokyo, but yeah, there's definitely, he still made really good games. Just shy of 10 years this fall of Evil Within being their first game under Tango, it's closed. So like 9.5 years, give or take, is basically all that studio had before it got shuttered. And I'll say this right now, this isn't a Xbox channel or PlayStation channel. I play everything. I'm not one or the other. I like everything. I play on PC as well. But usually, I think, like, if we're gonna be, honest with the timing of everything, I would say that this is not. It's not looking good. We talk about this on the Game Complainers every Wednesday night. I won't be on tonight, but there'll be a stack show over there tonight, so you don't want to miss the Game Complainers, which is the podcast that I've been doing for 11 years over on that channel with Perry and Frank. They're going to be live tonight as I'm, like I said, making a trip tonight, so I won't be on. But it's going to be a lot to talk about. And, we'll see what happens, as far as the rollout of the rest of this stuff. But it's not looking good for Xbox. Xbox has not been making good decisions. Microsoft as a whole, they're kind of pushing a lot of things towards mobile gaming. And it's not because they don't have the money. They have infinite amount of money, but they just don't really care about the standard way of gaming. And so I think they're trying to push things in a more mobile way, and I think that's completely stupid. You know what I mean? So as someone who has liked Microsoft and Sony, I still see that this generation between 2020 and 2024, we're not even 4 years in. This November will be 4 years into this console generation, and it's complete shite. It's complete shit on both sides. You know what I mean? To be fair. Now, at this point is, the business moves that Microsoft's making, they're not making good business moves. You know what I mean? In my opinion, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah. It's basically they're on their last leg here, I think they're going to pull out of the console game. I think PlayStation will be getting all of the titles. So PlayStation gets the dub at the end of the day, which I'm not afraid of saying, because I'm like, all right, well, if you take out the competition, all you have is Nintendo, and Sony's not competing with Nintendo. I'm sorry, but they're never going to make the Nintendo money. They're never going to team up with Nintendo. They're never going to be nice to Nintendo. They hate each other. Nintendo fucking hates Sony because of the backstab they did, which caused the PlayStation to begin with. But I will say this. I think there needs to be competition, which sucks, because when you don't have competition, someone like Sony can be like, you know what, PS6, you're going to pay $1,200 for. You know what, PS6, you're going to pay $999 for. Why fucking not? You guys might be like, Anthony, you're fucking crazy. They're not going to... Well, guess what? If competition isn't around, what do you guys pay every year for the new iPhone, huh? $1,200, $1,500? They can get that out of anybody to be like, oh, by the way, yeah, they'll pay $1,500 every year for a new camera on an iPhone. They'll fucking do it. You know what I mean? We don't know their next tactic, but all I'm saying is that when the competition fades out, people like Sony can do shit like that and get away with it. And people pay, and that enables them to do whatever the fuck they're going to do. It works both ways. But I'm not a Sony guy. I'm not a Xbox guy. I just like games. You know, I play on everything, so I have an opinion on everything. And gaming has been fucked. Not only between these companies making bad decisions, PlayStation 5 already saying it's end of life, which is, you know they're going to make a Pro. But it's already end of life. They already announced they don't have any games until next year. This is just the worst console generation, you know? I would say save your money, build a PC. I'm working on this next PC build. You guys know I've been waiting and scoping out everything that I need to. You're going to see that soon. That build will be live on this channel. So that's going to be, you know, you guys will see when it's built that's going to be where I'm going from now on. You know, I will hang on to the consoles I have. But, you know, I've always been also on PC as well. So that's why I'm saying is I've always had every slice of each kind of, you know, flavor. And that's fine, you know. So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents on that. I don't want to make this a console war discussion. There shouldn't be any war of consoles. All of it's dumb. Both companies make horrible decisions. Microsoft are definitely getting the award this year for making the worst decisions. Sony is close by because they're hemorrhaging money from their store debacle, and they, you know, the whole PSN store and losing a bunch of money. They weren't doing so hot either. But at the same time, PS5 is selling pretty well. So, you know what I mean? That's just the facts. Again, not going to touch Nintendo. Nintendo is also going to release their machine in spring of 2025, which is what we've been saying on the show forever now. But now that that's confirmed, that's going to be what they're doing, and they'll be fine in their own lane. You know, as far as a PlayStation showcase, we may get that next week. So, you know, let's see what happens. Let me catch up on some comments here, and I promise I'll try to get to you. Just bear with me. There's a lot of comments coming in. Got 50 people in here, but only 23 likes. What the hell? Hit that like button, and let's get this thing moving. RE9 is open world. There's a possibility it could largely be empty, like MGS5. That's true. I mean, yeah, if they do open world, what will happen? I don't think it'll be announced next week. I think it's mid-June. We'll hear about next Resident Evil game, but I noticed a lot of activity on the RE Twitter, so something's happening soon. Well, that's the thing. So keep in mind that even before E3 fizzled out into existence, a lot of these companies the last handful of years, even pre-pandemic, were doing their own events, right? And I think, honestly, if Microsoft goes about literally a month from now, a month from tomorrow is when Microsoft goes with their event, right? PlayStation, if they go next week, that's going to be them going. I don't think they're going to have another showcase in June. So that means a couple things. That just means that we either will get it at the PlayStation event next week, or Capcom will have their own event in June. I agree with you there. I think June is a good month, obviously, for a lot of these like reveals and stuff like that. But if Sony is going next week, they're not going to have another PlayStation showcase next week. Now, the Resident Evil doesn't have to be, you know, the whole Resident Evil brand doesn't always have to be showcased at Sony, but they do play nice with Sony. And Capcom likes to show RE at Sony. That's just the pattern of things, right? And Resident Evil 7 was shown at an E3, but that's gone now. So, will they show it next week, or will Capcom have an event? I'm not sure. Golden Freak is mentioning that Leon apparently is the next main character, according to what was deleted on a Discord from a leaker. I wouldn't be mad at that, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, I feel like I would want Jill over Leon. I don't know. I'm going to get a lot of Leon fans pissed, but I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I wish that was the case where he could just take Evil Within 3, but, you know, it'd be nice for a new spin-off with the same weight as Code Veronica or Revelations. I agree, Joe. Joe Meredith, I agree. Game Time says, I hope they've done the mythical stuff. They're done with the mythical stuff. I hope they do something similar to the first 6 games of RE4. I miss those days. Lab Zombie. Yeah, man. You know, and I got a lot of comments on my last video of saying, oh, man, you know, some of the zombies, I think that's overplayed, blah, blah, blah. I want them to keep doing what they're doing with Village. But in my opinion, the Village enemies didn't really fit the RE vibe for me, you know? Yeah, well, that's not going to happen, Neo, because he already has his own studio. So I know a lot of people are talking about that, like, oh, maybe he can go back to Capcom. He's not going to do that, especially when he left because he felt Capcom was getting too big. That's literally why he left back in 2005, 2006-ish. And here we are. And then he made Tango, and now he's not in Tango, and he made another one. So, but I understand that, if some people think zombies won't work, but I would argue that and say they worked in the remakes. They worked in Remake 2. They worked in Remake 3. Why couldn't they work now? Stevie Mac was at the Detore Best Buy. It's my old stomping grounds. All the physical movies are gone and only a small display of physical games. Yeah, I know that hit all the Best Buys at this point with all the games being gone. Joe wants to give Leon a break. I agree. Microsoft going mobile, and now we just get Sega to make new consoles. I know, Matthew, right? If only. If only. Explosives just playing the PS4. I mean, the PS4 is dated as fuck, my guy. That console's 11 years old. I think it's time to upgrade. Sorry, but there's no excuse now. I would say if you still have a PS4, wait for the PS5 Pro, because we know it's coming, and I think that's what's going to put the nail in the Xbox coffin, in my opinion. But I agree, Entername. Worst console generation. It's so just very disconnected from gaming. I agree. That's why I'm constantly going backwards, Vader says, "Hey, Ann, I just have a question about the PlayStation Showcase. Do you think it will be RE9 or RE5 because of the rumors? Some say it's true, but I'm not sure." Well, I think a remake could be next as well. I mentioned that a little bit in the video, that I think they could still be making 9, but a remake could also happen. You know what I mean? So I don't doubt that both are being developed, but we could see an RE5 remake. We could see a remake first before 9. Chris and Ethan and Mother Miranda are my favorite characters. Well, that's, to each their own, right? I like Chris. He's one of my favorites. Sorry about that. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I don't doubt that both are in development. I just think that, we have to see what they decide to pull in front of us first, I have a Series X, but I still built my first PC before RE4 and was a huge upgrade. Xbox lost their way. They put out more custom controllers and games. Yeah, Conflakes, I agree. So riffs a lot. So next week's supposed to be the PlayStation event. Yeah, Capcom always shows something, Overlord, at a PlayStation event. I agree. Or, again, the last couple of years, they've had Capcom events and strictly Resident Evil events. So anything can happen. But this is the first showcase of the season. Sony, if you are reading between the lines with this Microsoft stuff, you will come out this week, give us a date, and show the fuck up next week. I'm telling you, this is the time. Because fans like us, we want to see Silent Hill 2. We want to see Resident Evil 9 or another remake. We want to see what you fucking got. Because Sony has specifically said this year that they have no more games to release this year, and the PlayStation 5 is end of life. That's literally what they said from their lips, from the fucking CEO's lips, right? So that means a whole year, 2025, should be the time to strike. Resident Evil Village came out in May. Resident Evil 6, I know people are saying January. I'm sorry, Resident Evil 6. Resident Evil 9, I know people are saying, January. It could be spring. Let's just hope that, obviously, Resident Evil isn't a PlayStation title, but there isn't going to be another exclusive or any kind of title like that until next year, right? So the well is running dry on both ends. So we're just chomping at the bit for any kind of third-party game like a Resident Evil to come out, and we could look forward to it. Do you think RE9 will be announced with Xbox like RE5 was with the 360? No, I don't think so. I think if they were smart, they're going to do it at a PlayStation event or a Capcom event. What if they wait until fall or announce it for Holiday? That's not how it works, though, man. They got to announce it. The summertime is when all news comes out because you get people excited, especially if it comes out less than a year from now. They need to get that promotion and that hype's building now. That's how a lot of that works. So, let's see here. Nick Noguera, what's up, buddy? Fellow member in the house. If you guys are enjoying it, 70 people in here and only 30 likes. Let's get those likes up. Subscribe if you're new. Join the conversation. Ask me some questions. We'll be here for a little bit longer before I got to go to bed and get ready for this drive tonight. So, let's see. About time for some more Jill, says McBrew. I agree. Lady says, I want both Leon and Jill together. That'd be amazing to see in a game. I agree. He also said the showcase should be announced next week for it to happen on the 23rd, which is interesting because Aria is on sale, which ends on the 23rd. Interesting. Yeah, so if there is going to be a showcase, if they announce a date for a showcase next week, then, even if we got to wait another week longer, I'll take it, but hopefully it's next week. We'll see what happens. The rumors, though, because of, like I said, the rap industry beef, the rumors are saying next week is supposed to be the PlayStation showcase because the week after is when Kendrick is going to put out a song. I wish I was making this up, chat room, but I'm not. Literally, it was one of the DJs that leaked that it was like, oh, he can release something, but it's after the Sony event because he has a tie-in with that and he can't break that. So apparently they said it was going to be next week and we might get the date this week, but nobody really fucking knows, I guess. But we just know that a PS event is waiting to happen. That much we know, that it's probably going to be, sooner than later, and it's going to be this month. Conflicts wants classic zombies for new game or for the new games. Yeah, I mean, a remake of 1 and Code Veronica. I mean, absolutely. I think that will happen eventually. Need Jill and Ada in the next mainline RE. Yeah, I think that'd be cool to see that happen. Explosive wants a Rose and a Mia game. Yeah. Very interesting takes. And because of the letdown overall Village was, has it taken the win out of your sales and expectations and excitement for RE9 like it has for me, says Nick? That's a good question, Nick. I think the one thing that I always enjoy... Thank you for subscribing. Gail, thank you for the subscription. I think the one thing... That is a really good question. I don't think it's taken the win out of my sales, but I think it would have completely if we didn't get a banger of a remake like Resident Evil 4. I would have been left like, what am I really getting excited for? And another thing is I think being able to experience the games, whether it's with myself or with John, because we always try to experience some RE launches together, still as friends, or the community, playing it with the community. I think that's what also keeps it a little exciting, to be honest with you. There's some excitement, there's some anticipation. But Village definitely made me more cautious with getting my excitement up for new Resident Evil. As far as not putting all my eggs in one basket thinking this is going to be it. This is going to be the one that, brings a series back or the series is already back in full swing, but you know what I mean? It's going to be the one that's the best thing since the original Resident Evil 4, something like that. I try to just be very cautious and not get too excited. Jay Livingstone, what's up? Reverse 2? No, G listening. They need to announce something. RE News has been dry. It has been drier than a fucking desert in this RE stuff. RE5 or remake Code Veronica before 9, some reason, probably because I grew up with those games. Yeah, I mean, look, a remake can happen before 9, When I heard about the big tech layoffs, I immediately thought about gaming. Crappy time. It's very bad, Revelation. Matt Clyburn, what's up? All the members in the house. Appreciate that. Silent Hill should be coming out soon. Hopefully. And I think at this PlayStation event, they have to show Silent Hill. Show it. If the art direction looks like anything like what Ro uses for the RE9 videos, I would be really disappointed. Well, a lot of times those are just thumbnails, you know what I mean? So that's just to catch people's eye. So you can't really take that for face value. Xbox is Sega without Microsoft's servers, kids multiplayer on PC and PS. Goodbye. It's gonna suck, Bob Zip. Sorry, where are you heading to tonight? Pittsburgh, actually. Smash that like button. Hell yeah, Revelation. Yeah, I'm gonna be visiting my buddy John. Not the John you guys know, but my best friend John. Multiple best friends. I have a lot of best friends, but John is he was out there in Pittsburgh for, at this point, like 3 years. So, and I've only been able to visit him so much. I mean, he comes through here a lot to see family back in Jersey because, obviously he's from here, so he has family here. But, we just want to kind of make it a little trip and just hang out for a few days and just, it's going to be rainy. It's not going to be like, very nice. The last time we went there, it was cold as shit, and now it's raining, but it's fine. The good thing is the drive won't be too bad. I just have to go to bed soon and sleep until the AM, and then that's it. I don't think they'll kill off Chris, Milfman. I don't know. I don't think they will, but he wants a revenge story for Jill and 10. Rap is tied to the video game industry now. I mean, it has been. They've done like weird collaborations in the past, but like allegedly the Kendrick Lamar thing is a real thing, and the DJ tweeted that out that like, oh, it's going to be after the PlayStation event, and then took it down. We're telling the Rofella store Outbreak in RE Engine, and they could kick out new files annually, like the Dark Picture games. I mean, it's all there, man. They have the assets. They could do open world Raccoon City. It's all there. The stakes will be high for the next installment, and expect a death from a major character, says Matt. You never know. I mean, you never know what they can do. Bryant, what's going on? Golden Freak says R9 open world is an Asian island with Leon. Sounds very, very interesting to me. Yeah, it's very interesting. But again, take it with a grain of salt, Golden Freak. I know you're smarter than that, than just believe everything that comes out of these losers' mouths. Kular, what's up? Sebian Wilson, thank you for showing off the member emojis. John is awesome. He's a great friend still. I'm always excited when RE games are released. It feels like an awesome community. Yeah, it's always a community moment. All RE channels eat very good when the community is booming and, like everybody's excited, and we could do like this right now. I have 74 people in here right now. This never happens. This never happens. Like, I'm telling you guys, I get like 40 views at most. But when I put Resident Evil 9 discussion in there, and I put the thumbnail, I get this turnout, which I'm very grateful for. But this just comes to show that once Resident Evil starts ramping up, the engagement on my channel improves, which is an obvious one. Duh, Let's Talk Resident Evil, of course. But when it's a dry period, it's very hard to push through and grow. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the honest truth of YouTube. You know what I mean? So, at least for me, other people, it's a different story. But for me, it's a little bit harder. Silent Hill 2 remake for this year, says Kular. Crossing my fingers. I hope so. Cam MMA, what's up? Livingstone likes the movies. He's down for him. Carly McAdams says, what up, man? Any word on the Metal Gear remake? Not yet, but I think at this PlayStation event, we might see some Metal Gear Solid. And yeah, G listened about the Silent Hill 2 or Silent Hill F stuff. I don't know. I think they might just focus on getting Silent Hill 2 out the door and seeing how that sells before we get anything on Silent Hill F. But you never know. They might also show Silent Hill F back to back. Who knows? Yeah, Thunders, I agree. Need Metal Gear remake, release date, and Silent Hill. Long overdue. You think we'll get an intro demo? Quentin, I think they will continue to do the demos. It's a matter of time. Will they do the demos similar to how they did Village and do like a two-parter? I don't know. I guess we'll see. Matthew Webster with the first donation of this evening, $3 super chat, says, rumors be like Resident Evil 10 remake, HD next. Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, some of the rumors, you can't believe everything you read, chat room. Some of it might be true. Some of it might be false. One comment, actually, I did like one comment that I get where people were like, all leakers do is like, they just move the goalpost. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty fucking accurate. So whoever that was, yeah, you're right on that. Remember Mortal Kombat 10 trailer had rap music when Scorpion and Sub-Zero were fighting? Oh yeah, I remember that. MGS3 remake should be getting news within the next couple of months. They were aiming for the end of 2024. Yeah, so hopefully we get something at the PlayStation event. What if they make crossovers for RE from other horror? I mean, other horror games or other different kinds of horror in Resident Evil. They already tried to do that. But I feel like RE9 has to be announced at the PS Showcase or early June. Yes. That's what I'm saying. Is like, I feel like the obvious thing that's going around is like RE9 is going to be announced soon. That's the obvious one, right? but it's the little detailed leaks that make me kind of scratch my head a bit. Because obviously they're due for an RE9. We're due for an announcement. So I agree. This month, PlayStation Showcase or early June with a Capcom or Resident Evil Showcase. I haven't heard anything as far as the inside Capcom creators thing. Like I said, like I'm a Capcom creator. But even in our Discord, there's no talks of like, you know, if there's going to be an event anytime soon. But as soon as I know, you will know, and probably the public, because they usually don't announce it even to us early. It's always like, oh, by the way, here's a public announcement, Capcom Showcase coming out June, 8th or 9th or 10th or whatever. You know what I mean? That's not officially said yet, but it could happen. If RE9 is Chris's last game, says Robert King, hope they give a choice between Chris and Jill like the first game, even bringing back different carry capacities, lockpicks, small keys. I mean, that would be interesting if they did something like that again, where it's like you could pick between the two characters, but the story kind of plays out a little different each way, but it comes all the way, together at the end without any kind of inconsistencies. That'd be interesting. Tormented Souls 2, I'd like to see more of that, Kular. We want Jill back in RE9 or Rev 3. I would take Jill in RE9 at this point. Bring back the molded and leave out zombies and said no one ever, says Carly McKenna. Yeah, no. Since RE7 was revealed, trailer has been since RE7, I'm just fucking up. Since RE7, which reveal trailer has been the best in your opinion? I would say RE2 remake with the rat crawling around and it cuts to the guy struggling and it's Leon with the flashlight. That was like you got chills. Like, I got chills almost thinking about it now. Like that was that was just like, we made it, boys. Like we're finally gonna get RE2 remake sooner than later. But it's not just like, hearsay or, whatever. Like, I mean, obviously it was after the We Do It campaign, but up until the We Do It, it felt like forever, like for them to finally acknowledge Resident Evil 2. Then when they acknowledged it, we were just like, all right, when are they going to really show it? When are they going to show it? And they finally did. And yeah, that was a great one. I think RE9 could easily be first and third person, Golden Freak. I think it could be third person, and then they might add first person later, or vice versa. But I think third person is where I'm guessing. Please let the puzzles in Tormented Souls 2 be easier than the first game. Again, shout out to Eamon. I'm always going to shout her out because she saved my fucking ass in that playthrough, helping me out with the puzzles. Some I got on my own, sure, but some I couldn't get without the chat. So, yeah. I heard rumors about a PS Vita 2. Honestly, I mean, they'd have some balls if they're going to try to compete with the Nintendo in the handheld market when the Switch is literally a fucking handheld. But I would accept a Vita 2. I think that'd be great with an OLED screen, but they're not going to do it. PlayStation, their mindset is just on the consoles right now. Lady agrees, says RE2 remake was the most hyped. Bro, molded are just regenerator cheap bootleg. Yeah, I know. I fucking hate the molded. Imagine a 50-year-old Leon in RE9. That would be cool as fuck. I mean, look, they're all in their 50s, right? They're all getting there. So I wouldn't mind to see any of those characters in their older kind of, models and stuff like that. But just like, experience as fuck. They might be a little slower with age, but that doesn't mean it's going to stop Leon, Jill, Chris, any of these characters, Claire. Even fucking Barry was rocking in Rev 2. Jeff M, fellow member in the house. What's up? Bit Nation says, RE9 has been in production for 7 years. I kind of feel like we got to see all the characters this time around. We haven't heard of Wesker since RE6. Yeah, the thing is, man, I don't know if it's been in development for that long. It's probably been in development for a while, but like 7 years is kind of a stretch. That sounds like a little bit more leak mumbo jumbo than an actual source that says it's been worked on for 7 years. I mean, if Capcom comes out and says, look, this is the longest developed Resident Evil game yet, then I'll believe it. But I would say maybe 5 years. You know what I mean? I don't think 7 years, maybe 4 years. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't think 7 years. That seems a little bit of a stretch, but let's see. Hardest part 1, I do want TS2 to be better improvement to the controls. Yeah, they can fix all that stuff. They can't kill off Chris. They will ruin the game's storyline more. It's never been the same since Wesker got killed. That is a good point, Thunders. I think one of the biggest mistakes Capcom ever made was killing off Wesker in Resident Evil 5 because they've been trying to chase that villain ever since, and they can't. And Wesker is the fucking best. So I agree. I mean, I don't think killing off any other characters is really the answer because it's always created a weird stigma around the franchise. And I agree. I mean, look what happened after Wesker died. We got Simmons. Oh, not Dinosaur Simmons. Whoa. Like, no, that's fucking bullshit. So, yeah, I'm good on that. Let's see. Need to focus on OG movies and leave the live action behind. Oh, CG movies, not OG movies. CG, yes. I mean, I agree. I mean, I don't mind the CG movies. Will Chris punch a boulder in R9 or 10? Probably not, but maybe in the 5 remake. Golden Freak misses Barry. I do too. Yes, an ensemble game filled with fan service is definitely the right direction for RE, for a great RE. Laughing my ass off, says Leonardo. Well, I wouldn't agree with in an ensemble game with that many people because again, we saw what happened when Capcom got too excited, Leonardo. What happened? RE6. They got too excited. They put too many characters in the game. They put shitty villains, shitty writing, and they didn't know what the identity of the game was. Is it horror? Is it Call of Duty action? Is it Gears of War? What is it? Nobody knew. Maybe that wasn't the actual Wesker. Well, Stevie Mac, stranger things have happened in Resident Evil, right? So yeah, they could easily be like, and he's not dead. But we'll see what happens. Brandon Bailey should be the main villain for RE franchise right now, but we haven't actually seen him yet. Or Brandon Bailey, sorry. Or Bailey. Yeah, Bailey. Look, all I know is that there isn't going to be a villain that can really top Wesker, in my opinion, in the franchise. I think a lot of people will try to come close, but I don't think they will. So Barry and Raccoon City leading up to his rescue of Jill and Carlos would be cool. That would be cool, but, they're never going to do little stories like that, unfortunately, that are, within Raccoon City or a side story that's within Raccoon City at this point. Because it seems like the only time they really went back to it was obviously when they did the Chronicle games, like Umbrella Chronicles, Darkside Chronicles, and then obviously the remakes, Started to begin as soon as 8 was released is just a guess. Yeah, exactly, Kular. Like just before or right when Village was released. The live action films, I only really like the first 2 or 3, as far as the Paul Anderson ones, Livingstone. Will Ari bring back cheesy dialogue from RE1? Probably not, because now they try to take it more serious. And back then it was kind of more not trying to be that way. It feels like Ari always makes the Leon games great, and the Chris games, they're always some issue. Or a 3 remake, maybe it's just me, but I noticed that. Yeah, I mean, I would say the last few games, mainline games that Chris has been in, has not been good. Leon's been getting the easy ones, and the better ones, I guess. But I mean, Leon was in RE6 and Chris was in RE6, so they both lost there. Chris kind of got the upper hand on 5 over 6, but a lot of people would argue that 4 is better than 5, which I still think the original 4 is better than 5. I like the original 5 a lot, but I still think Leon got the win on that one. And then they both lost at 6. And then 7, Chris was barely in it, and he looked like a crackhead, so we can't count that. And he barely was himself anyway, even in the Not a Hero bullshit DLC. Give me a fucking break with that one. And then in Village, Chris lost because they wrote him bad, and nobody knew, and, I don't know. You got the same leakers that everybody's talking about online right now about RE9 is the same guy that said that Chris was going to turn into a werewolf. So figure that fucking one out and get back to me on what these leaks really fucking mean and how real they really are. Sir Rifsalot says RE4 reboot is going to change Wesker's story. I don't think 5 remake will kill him off. I agree, Sir Rifsalot. I think it might change something else. We'll see. Matthew Webster says, I'm all right with Wesker dying, but please let Jill finish him off with Kristen Sheva. Yeah, Jill should have been there. I know that she was weak, but she should have been there for the final fight. I agree. I don't want Capcom to ever revert back to the dark days of RE6. They're going on fire right now. Keep it going. I agree, Jeff M. Keep the momentum rolling. That's why they always have multiple games in development at one time. You know what I mean? They always know what's going down. So, they even put a dinosaur in RE6. What is it, Dino Crisis remake? Yeah, that was a horrible boss fight. Horrible. I heard Fred auditioned to be the next RE villain. I heard he got a call from them, so you never know what could happen. No, I'm just kidding. But for people who don't know, Brandon Bailey is the last founder of Umbrella who is still alive and now owner of the Connections. Yeah. So that I do remember that name kind of popping up in one of the other conversations we were having. I don't know if it was on one of these live discussions or it was on a just a live stream. But yeah, I mean, they could easily do that, but I think they have to introduce him to people that don't know who he is, right? And all of us don't really, I mean, we know of him, but we don't know, like, you know, how he would actually be as, like, a villain, or if they brought him in as someone who is, like, trying to bring the ship back type stuff. But that's a good point. We'll see. For RE6, though, they say Leon's campaign was the best. I mean, it was the better one. Yeah, it probably was the best campaign, but that's not saying much. That's not saying much. You know what I mean? Rewrite RE6. Yeah, that's liquors equal leakers. Yes. Should RE have a team of writers like Disney Marvel? They probably already do have a team of writers, to be honest with you. A lot of games do. Sometimes it's written by one person, but a lot of times it is a team of people throwing ideas together. And even though there might be one writer like listed, sometimes it's like a ghostwriter on a song. It's like there's multiple people that are actually helping write because it's a team effort sometimes. But it was odd enough for Village that they had Chris half Lycan in the art, and then maybe that was just bait and switch trick for people. Yeah, but that was just stupid, man. That was just stupid. Wes Murdoch, what's going on? Alex Wesker also had a lot of potential for the next big bet. I agree, Golden Freak. I liked Revelations 3 and what they did with Alex Wesker. I thought that was pretty good. We never got that cliffhanger kind of explained either. So, and Natalia, like, what the hell happened with that? Jeff M says Chris was done so poorly in RE8. They need to write him properly for RE9. I agree. I would love that. Matthew Webster with the other two. Crazier Boss. Dino Simmons or Dragon Delmitresque? Crazier Boss in what way? Bullet spongy or lackluster design? I would say the worst of the two. Lady D Dragon design is pretty low on my list. That is not a good design in my opinion. And neither is the Simmons. I would say the Simmons is worse because he's very spongy on the harder modes. I know you can beat him pretty quickly on normal, but if you put that on professional or no hope, Simmons doesn't fucking die. At least with the Delmitresque, like on the harder modes, you could deal with that. I would say Simmons. I would say Simmons is the worst. They need to add more story about the Connections. 2 games, and we still don't know a whole lot about them. That's true. And I want to know, like, how are you going to tie in the BSAA change? Like, how are you going to tie that in? You know, we saw them sending in BOWs, like, and Chris was like, what the hell are they doing here? You know, explain that. Explain, like, don't steer away from BSAA. We still need to know what's going on, and you can explain the Connections. What if the BSAA got infiltrated by the Connections in some way? I don't know. This is just speculation, but I don't know whose idea it was to kill Wesker. Who knows? Nick Noguera gifted another membership to Stevie Mac. Welcome back as a member. You now have access to early videos, exclusive content, polls, and emojis. I don't like the writing in both 7 and 8. To be honest, they never felt like RE to me. Thank you, lady. You fucking hit the nail on the head. That's literally how I feel. Favorite voice actor for RE franchise? Probably Allison Court. I would say Allison Court. Paul Haddad is a great one. I mean, that's just classic. But I would say man. That's a good question. I like Carlos Boss design in RE6. That wasn't that bad, Golden Freak. Man. Yeah, I would have to say maybe Allison Court. Let's see. Allison Court. DC Douglas. Allison Court, DC Douglas, and probably Roger Craig Smith. Yeah, probably Roger Craig Smith. Thankfully, what needs to be paid off now in the BSAA bios at the end of Village. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't want to leave that open and then just not do anything with it. You know what I mean? And how many times has Capcom done that to us where they've left something open, then they never finished it? You know? Leonardo says, for me, the best would be to have a new experimental RE game alongside a more classic cast and setting. I'd get tired of, let's say, only zombies and some plot every time. Well, I mean, I feel like you got to be careful when you say experimenting, because I think that's what a spin-off should be. I feel like Village should have been experimented with those kind of like lichens and those enemies, and that should have been a spin-off. That shouldn't have been in a main RE game, because in my opinion, it didn't capture the vibe, you know? Also, Blue Umbrella hasn't been mentioned since 7. That too. Like, what the fuck? Why was that even a thing? But also, keep in mind, guys, that Resident Evil 7 was supposed to be a soft reboot, so a lot of the stuff that they had in that game didn't really make sense, or they didn't go back to it because they didn't know what the hell they were doing at that point. But you would have thought it would have been brought in, but I think because they didn't want to use Umbrella, they didn't want to call it Umbrella, so in 7 they used Blue Umbrella, and that's why Chris didn't look like Chris, because it was supposed to be a soft reboot-ish type game that ended up taking off a lot more. It put Capcom back on their feet, and they wanted to continue the story and still make it canon in our timeline. So that's when they started to change Chris, made him look like Chris, and then did that dumb connection with Miranda and and Spencer, which was just shoehorned in and horrible. I understand, Brian. A lot of people do like that Ethan was the average Joe, but guess what changed? When he became fucking molded in Village. When they said, oh yeah, remember when he got knocked out in the beginning before Mia cut your hand off? Yeah, he died, and he became the molded. It's like, okay, so Ethan wasn't just supposed to be this average Joe guy. He was infected by the molded, and that's why he could regenerate and do all this shit. Nobody would have questioned if you just left RE7's story like it is. I know it still doesn't make sense that he pours shit on himself and he puts his hand back, but at the same time, it's like, dude, like, we don't need an explanation for that. And sometimes when you explain too much, you ruin what was cool about it. So, you know, that's a Halloween 5 tin. Signed by Danielle Harris back there. So, the good old DVD tins. I really like RE7 Chris's voice. I mean, he was okay, but like, what material did they really give him? Not much. He says a few lines to Ethan at the end, and then in his Not a Hero DLC, which again, doesn't really explain much about Blue Umbrella, why Chris would ever work with someone or something named Umbrella. Why would he ever associate with an umbrella in general? That's why that game doesn't make any sense, and that was, I'm telling you, was written for a soft reboot. And I agree, Lady Huga, the connection to Miranda felt so forced and shoehorned in, and that's when I lost complete respect for Village. I liked the gameplay was fine, it was snappy, but I lost complete like hope from that game when I saw that, how they did that. You think we'll ever see a new Rev title? Jeff M., a member for 12 months. I would love to see a Rev title. Or I would like to, you know, the rumor, the great rumor, the sweaty guy tweeting these things says that, 5 Resident Evil games are in development. I don't think there's 5 Resident Evil games in development. But I do think that they probably have 2 or 3 maybe in development. A remake, a mainline, and maybe a spinoff, whether it's Rev 3 or a different spinoff. I would like to see them come back and do it properly. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood Collector's Edition on the shelf. I have that one as well. I love that movie. One of my favorite experiences in the theater, seeing that open at night. Yes, Conflicts, loved it. I saw it in a theater with my dad and my brother. Very memorable for me as well. My dad loves that movie. He doesn't always like Quentin Tarantino stuff, but like, you know, he grew up in the 60s, you know what I mean? So it was a cool film for him, and yeah, it was just, I love that film. Probably my favorite Quentin Tarantino film, and probably my favorite film in the past, like, 10 years, I would say. Easy. A reveal in-game takes out the mystery and speculation. They should have said he was molded. Well, they did. Or they shouldn't have said he was molded. Well, yeah. They should. Sorry, I misread that. Who is the sweaty guy? I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to give anybody credit, but it's these leakers online that, you know, that we all give 1,000% hope for that they're right, when in reality, yeah, they might get 2 things right, but the rest they just embellish and change their stories. A 5 remake, I think, Weston, can still happen. Absolutely. I don't know when, but I think it will still happen. Time is truly a great comfort movie. Yeah, Joe, that's honestly, it's like a hangout movie, almost. And then the end, it just gets batshit crazy, which I love. I love this thing. I actually have the Steelbook as well, but this is this is sold out now. But yeah, very, very cool. Look at that. On the back, that's the front. And this is cool because it's got Mad, which is the in lore show. And look at that, it's got a 45. Rick Dalton, good old Rick Dalton. Look at this. It's pretty dope. It is really dope. And there's got Sharon Tate in there, Margot Robbie, Al Pacino, Kurt Russell. Yeah. Really fucking good. Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Those are great ones. Yeah. Those are amazing. Reservoir Dogs. I like Reservoir Dogs. Honestly, the whole Ethan Winters saga has made the RE story feel like it has been on pause for 10 years now. Matthew, honestly, that's a good comment right there. That is I'm about to pin that comment because that is true, man. Like on pause. Like that is a real statement. Saw it with my dad, and it's his favorite Tarantino movie. Shame that the movie critic got canceled. I wanted to try and fly out to the New Beverly to see it. Yeah, man. I actually went to the New Beverly only once, but me and my dad saw Inglourious Bastards on 75 millimeter, I think, and it was awesome to be in that theater. Really cool. Sucks about movie critic Herb Cliff was going to be in it. Yeah, man. Honestly, I just don't know why. I really would have loved to see what he would have had with movie critic, man. I really would have loved to have given that a shot. I don't know how I feel about maybe the semi-open world. It might be cool, but I feel like we'll end up getting less story. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, Trigger. I don't think it really fits well. I think, look, kind of like what I said on my podcast, I just don't think that, you have to do open world to save your game. You know what I mean? Like when I say save it, I mean like, oh, we need something new. Let's just throw open world. It's like, no, like you need good characters, good storytelling, a really good plot. Like, keep it interesting. I know the franchise is 28 years old. I know everything's been done. But there is something that you can give me that's better than fucking Village, and you don't have to make it open world. So, I hope Capcom takes a break from remakes for a while just to focus on the new entries in the series. I love remakes, but we're ready for some new games. I do agree with that, Jeff M. too. I think remakes definitely have their place, and they are breadwinners for Capcom. They make a lot of money. But, I do agree that they are going to eventually hit a wall. Kind of like how a lot of the movie remakes in the industry hit a wall, when they stopped remaking stuff. I mean, they're always going to reboot and revamp stuff anyway. But there was a while there where it was just like remake. And I feel like with a lot of these games, Final Fantasy remake, Resident Evil remake this, remake that, Silent Hill remake, like all this stuff, it hits a wall eventually. I'm still waiting for RE series to continue. Yeah, Lady agrees with Matthew. Yeah, well, that's a great point, Matthew. I want RE to have more world building to see from ordinary citizens dealing with a world that has these bioweapons. Well, I think one thing that what people will like to see with another Outbreak or something that is updated Outbreak is what I liked about Outbreak's characters is that some of them were just everyday Raccoon City workers or everyday people. You can easily do that again. Have a new cast of characters, make it Outbreak 3, or you don't have to call it Outbreak, just call it something, and give us a line of characters that are kind of like your everyday workers, or like, you know, like so maybe you'll have the one cop or the one guard or something that knows his shit, but other people can still fight, but they have like more of like a citizen approach. Like we're just dealing with this outbreak the best way we can, and you can have abilities and stats based off of that, which is what Outbreak did. You could do that now. Like, it's all there. The online's there, you know? But yeah, I think if they're going to do, as far as open world, that's the only time you should do anything open world, is doing another Outbreak type game like that. Then come back to me with open world. But for Resident Evil 9, make it like RE4. You can go around, do treasures, explore, and then there's a cutoff point and you continue. Do it like that. Nick's not a fan of open world. And he loves open world games, but not for RE. I agree. Stevie says, I forgot to tell you that a used video game store at the farmer's market has a copy of OG RE1 for $180. Comes in that weird small cardboard box that's hard to find. Oh, you mean the a long box? The long box version? Luckily, I haven't seen a movie on film since I was a kid, and we only have Limax where I live. Hopefully Tarantino changed course because he wants to go out with a bang and something bigger. Yeah, hopefully. Really hope so, man. And the best part is, dude, honestly, like, he still has a lot of good films left in him, in my opinion. But I know he wants to go out in the sweet spot, what he said in the interview before. So got to keep it interesting gameplay-wise. Story characters are just part of the pie. That's true. Just part of it. It's not the whole thing, but it's part of the pie that makes the whole, right? Hopefully RE9 doesn't become a live service game. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to take the Fortnite approach. And their multiplayer efforts have been god-awful, like, honestly. That's why they got to focus on co-op, because I feel like that would work. Like a co-op Outbreak spin-off type game would be amazing. They should just rip off the Evil Within 2 and have a few town areas that are... that are small, open world. I mean, yeah, they could. I mean, I know people have mentioned Evil Within 2, like that kind of idea. I don't know. It would just have to make sense. Look, if it's going to be in this, kind of like this island inspired by Singapore, which is what they're saying, that's something that, there's room to be like, oh, well, there's pockets of the island that you can go explore. It's not really open world, but you can kind of go explore, and like you can completely miss it. You don't have to do it. You can find a grenade launcher or a rocket launcher over here if you explore really good. Like, make it to where if you're going to do something like that, give us rewards, because most RE games, for the most part, the main characters are working for the government, some in the military or special units. So I would like a civilian point of view. You never know. They almost did it for Ethan going forward. You know what I mean? Really feel that open world RE could be Days Gone online game rather than RE9. I think they should make it like Outbreak. If you rewatch the RE5 ending, you'll notice something moving in the water. Could it be Wesker? I don't think so, but I think they made the mistake and they killed him off. But stranger things have happened. John's in the house. What's up? He says, if you keep the formula the same as RE4 Remake and incorporate a parry dodge mechanic, they cannot go wrong gameplay-wise. RE4 has the right formula. Keep it a hybrid of being outside and inside. And don't forget that puzzles, interesting lore, file connections are a must for the series. I would rather keep them some type of merchant system, or I'd rather keep some type of merchant system moving forward as well. I agree definitely, especially with how well the Duke went over and the merchant, because the Duke was pretty much the merchant, so it all fed into where they are now. So I think there needs to be something where it doesn't switch it up entirely, and like what Matthew Webster said, the Resident Evil story, as far as I'm concerned, it really has been paused for 10 years. I mean, the last few games just didn't really feel like they were really continuing the story. So, like John said, if you have all those elements there that made something like RE4 original and remake so great, on top of the added additions to the remake, you got everything you need. You just need to have a story that doesn't shoehorn the shit in. And open world is not going to save it. I'm sorry, but it's just not going to. And again, you can have elements like RE4 remake, where you can go and do your side missions. You can take a boat. You can drive to a couple different areas. They could still keep it there, but it's just not for Resident Evil. And I don't want Capcom to say, oh, well, this is the thing fans want to switch it up. No, that's not what we want to switch it up. You know what I mean? Maybe you could explore, for example, you could do any puzzle in any order of the mansion. Before. Yeah, like things like that, I could see them doing. I'm happy you're enjoying the conversation. Could Wesker... A lot of people are saying it wasn't actually Wesker that died. That's been the theory for years, Bryant. John says, open world isn't for... Or this is for Matthew. Open world isn't RE. Maybe open world exploration best. I already read that. John said open world as well. Open world RE is a bad move. They have less than 25% chance to pull off something I would call a B tier, let alone an S tier. The only time Capcom should even consider open world is Outbreak Room. Hey, thank you, John. Yeah, you guys are on it. You guys know exactly what we're talking about. Me and John always kind of share these opinions too, privately, just when we talk, because we both felt like gutted, like absolutely gutted, like pulled out our intestines, like gutted, when we saw how piss poor the connection was with Village, with just the story, with our original characters, the original games. Like, it was completely, like that moment that we read those files, which I'm really pissed it's forever gone because we went over the 12-hour mark on the YouTube stream. So our first reaction is forever lost in the ether, which is, again, shame on me for not locally recording, but, you live and you learn. But yeah, basically, we were just like, they got to be fucking kidding me. Wesker being a clone could be explained when they remake 5. Exactly. Because the remakes haven't shifted major moments in the game, only a little bit, but they've kept the same results by the end of the game and the character surviving all the same. So if they ever did something like that where they actually started to change main elements, and again, I know 3 changed main elements of the game, even 2 with the scenario A-B that wasn't even there. So there is certain aspects that they completely changed that should have been done right. However, that would be the first time we would see them kind of change course a little bit. And they kind of did a little bit in 4. Wesker was actually around. He was fucking around the whole time. He could run up on... He could have ran up on Leon at any time and just fucking clapped his ass if he wanted to. That's how close Wesker was to RE4. Those are great changes. Those are great changes because you implement him into the story more and you get him set up for Resident Evil 5. No one wanted over-the-shoulder action until it happened. I've got an open mind for open world direction, to be honest. RE4 would not have happened if they didn't add something new, says It's Your Eyes. That's true, but I think, again, we don't want Capcom to get too excited. We know what happens when they got excited with RE6. Look what happened when they got excited with Village, in my opinion. They got a little too excited after the success of RE7, and they went a little crazy. Obviously, it was Burt Wesker that did RE5, says Matthew. John says, Village broke my heart. Incredible setting, incredible boss design, incredible larger-than-life characters, incredible Marvel Venom-like idea with the Mega Mycete. Just to take a big ol' upper decker and flush your face right in front of the toilet bowl, brown pudding sting in your eye the whole time you choke, and the brown water wondering what the fuck happened. Yeah, I mean, it's... I would say, look, the incredible boss design, I wouldn't say that for Village. I feel like that was a little lackluster. Potential for characters? Yeah, I think it had potential for characters. Mega Mycete I wasn't too crazy on, but again, to each their own. But I agree, a lot of the things that they ended up doing kind of threw a lot of that stuff out the window. The gameplay was 10 out of 10. It was snappy. They improved over the RE7 first-person gameplay. RE8 third person as well ran really well. But at the same time, when the gameplay is 10 out of 10 and the story just kind of takes a shit, it's glaringly obvious that there's a problem. So, I don't know. Yeah, they did that with the RE1 remake, adding enemy lore, G-Virus, Nemesis, Origin, and all. They still haven't made a move like that since. It's a good point. Conflict says Village had some interesting concepts, but overall bad writing. Chris not telling Ethan what was going on was so silly, and wasn't a fan of Heisenberg's power and BattleBot transformation. Yeah, that was lame. Chris Redfield also not acting like himself was fucking stupid. I'm tired of them doing Chris dirty. Honestly, he's one of my favorite characters. when I said incredible boss design, I specifically speaking about the gameplay part of it. I really like how interactive the boss fights were, and acid rain, hiding behind things. Yeah, no, I think the ingredients were all there. They just didn't really bake us something that was good. You know, it's like they had like they got a little too excited. They had a little too much pizzazz here and a little too much sauce over here. You know, they got too excited with what they had, and also they got way too cocky with that Lady D marketing. That is something that honestly isn't talked about enough. Like, I don't see any of these Resident Evil channels that have been made in the last, few months or weeks, talking about it. I don't see a lot of Resident Evil channels that have been around for a while talking about it. The marketing of Lady D and how much of a mistake that actually hurt them in the end, in my opinion. Look, it sold well, so I guess it didn't really hurt them. But I think it let fans down in the end. I think it hurt fans in the end because they thought she was going to have a bigger role, a way bigger role than what she actually did. I don't know if the producer changing will have a big impact, Bryant, on all that stuff, but we'll see. I think RE9 really should go back to the basics, bring in the connections to be the next Umbrella threat, and more than one game. The next few games should be about their rise of power. Sure. I mean, I would take it, man. John says, actual artwork, it was B tier. Monroe was my favorite. Yeah, Monroe would probably be my favorite too, or one of my favorites, but you could tell Village was not made for third-person mode. It felt very clunky. Yeah, it wasn't as smooth as the remakes, but it's still playable, Someone should build a real-life Spencer replica. I feel like that will happen eventually, right? Ethan comes back as the villain for RE9. What's up, Patriot Joel? Rubs hands together. I'm cooking it. Just you wait, buddy. I'm going to get a lot of hate for RE7 and Village video I'm currently working on. Well, there you go. I don't think it'll be a traditional open world that people think Fallout, GTA, Red Dead 2, Far Cry. I think it'll be a bunch of optional shit like RE4, but you're free to do it when you want. Yeah, I mean, look, they would just have to, because again, when they say open world, right, we could be taking it a completely different way, like you said. But, yeah, if they make it like RE4 Remake, I won't be mad at that, Therio, God of Rage, says Residents of Evil mention it a couple of times. What's that? What do they mention? Also, I feel like they made Lady D sexualized for their marketing to lead fans to play RE8. That made ultimately hate Village even more. It's just, big titties or not, big ass or not, I think it's just like it was. I think it took off a lot more than they thought. And when it came down to it, her final dragon form sucked ass, in my opinion. Her regular form was a lot better. And yeah, she's dead like 25% way through the game. So it's like, trailer hype Lady D too much. Players hype the baby too much. Yeah, the baby, I was just like, what am I playing? This is not Resident Evil, And everybody hated my reaction. Everybody hated my reaction to the baby. What do you mean, Anthony? You're saying it's not scary? No. Angel Excellence, what's up? Says, Anthony, what's your take on Xbox closing down Tango Gameworks being shut down by Xbox? Evil Within won't have a conclusion. It's a bullshit move on Microsoft and the Xbox division. Yes, I agree, Angel. I did kind of talk about this at the top of the show, and to kind of answer or to kind of acknowledge John's comment as well. Yeah, it's not looking good, And like I said, I play games and I judge things fairly, and I know when the writing's on the wall. And Xbox is out. They're completely out of the console game. It's just going to be Sony and Nintendo going forward, and Xbox is more focused on mobile, because they're making a killing on mobile, and they're shutting down a lot of studios. So it's a very, very shitty time in gaming. And I could say that as a supporter of the Xbox ecosystem, the PlayStation ecosystem, my PC ecosystem for years. This is the beginning of the end for Xbox. So, let's just pray that we get through the next year with some decent game announcements, and let's just try to put these really bad 4 years of gaming behind us and counting. So it is what it is. I think the next showcase will be probably next week or the week after. We'll see, though. Capcom needs a small fixed camera studio to keep longtime fans happy. I don't know, Jesse. They're not going to ever go back to that, as much as I would like to see that, The marketing of Lady D was basically the beginning of the game. Yes, it was. Village is kind of open world if you think about it. Bigger exploration. Yeah, I guess is what you consider open world. That's been a big topic for debate. Fuck that baby. That entire section taking your weapons away kills the replayability. I do agree with that. Joe Merida says the only thing I could give the dragon boss fight is the design reminded me of Birkin from Birkin Form 4. So it was kind of gothic horror. K, 32 months membership. Thank you, K, for the long support. Appreciate that. Loved Hot Goth Mommy. Let's go LTRE. Yes, the Hot Goth Mommy. The baby was painfully predictable. Would have been preferred the chainsaw guy from Evil Within chasing you. Yeah, that would have been cool. The baby section made me laugh, to be honest. I don't know how people was scared. Also pissed me off because what was that doing in R8? That's what I'm saying. The vibe was off. I thought the mannequins in the Shadows of Rose sections were scarier than the baby. I do agree with that. I think that was more effective. Everyone thought Lady D was the main boss of the game. That's why, because the whole marketing was around her. Very true. Xbox is going to focus on PC and mobile for sure. Yes, they are. Oh, shit, that's really a thing? I thought Xbox thing was a rumor. No, unfortunately, they're not done yet, but they will be not hanging around much longer in the console game. I'll tell you that. I think they might have one more console in them, and if they do, it's not going to sell well. So it just is what it is. It was their only Japanese studio they wanted to expand, but they threw it all away, closing their own studio. It's bullshit, and I feel terrible for that dev team. Well, it came out today that they were pitching Hi-Fi Rush 2 just before the shutdown. They were literally like, hey, this is a very successful game. Here's Hi-Fi Rush 2. And there you go. It explains why they attacked so hard to get Activision Blizzard. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not even the fact that any... they just, that's what they want to do. They want to push themselves out of the gaming industry in that way. They want to change gaming into mobile. And I understand that gaming, I'm going to break everybody's hearts right now. 90% of gamers play on their phones, play on Fortnite, play Call of Duty, play Warzone, play these free-to-play games, and the rest of the 10% probably buy single-player games and then switch up their games from time to time. Maybe 90 is too big of a number, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Fortnite is taking over the industry. Mobile games, Candy Crush, all this shit. Microsoft owns Candy Crush, too, if you think about it. You know how much money that makes them daily? A lot. So a lot of people play on mobile, but just because people play on mobile and you think that's the future, that doesn't mean like you're satisfying the fans that brought you to the dance to begin with. That's the problem. That's the fucking problem. The baby was psychological horror. Capcom really dropped the ball with that. With Lady D. I mean, but the thing is, the psychological horror didn't work. That whole section just did. Beneviento did not work for me. RE2 through 4 remake should just be how Resident Evil is played, with VR support and first-person options. I agree, John. Because it works so well. I mean, the remakes were living proof that that's what they can do and just do properly and get away. Mobile gaming is by far the biggest thing in Japan. Exactly. And that's the thing, too. I think Nintendo has their Switch 2 coming out in the spring of 25, and they have it down pat. You know what I mean? That's the thing. I don't think that's going to save them, John, to be honest with you. Even if they have something like a handheld, I think it might do okay, but it's not going to save them. It's just not going to. They're too in the shit. They're too in the shit because why would you get it when you can play Halo on PlayStation? You can play Gears of War on PlayStation. Like all this stuff is going to happen eventually to the point where unfortunately that handheld option isn't even going to make sense anymore. And that's just where we're at. That's just the reality of that. And I think that's going to happen eventually. It's just going to be very slow. I think the first thing they're going to do in June is they're going to announce more Xbox games are coming to PlayStation. And that's what their June showcase is going to be. What is PlayStation showcase going to be next week or the week after? Well, whenever we do get this showcase, I will say this. We're going to get Silent Hill 2. We're probably going to get the next Resident Evil. We're probably going to get something else because I don't think Sony's going to have another showcase next month in June with all these other companies. Like, they're not going to. Why? Sony's just going to show the showcase now. If they were smart, they announced the date this fucking week with all this dumbass Xbox news and strike. That's what they should do. If they were smart, they would fucking do that. Maybe Switch 2 will have RE Library. They should. They should, Matthew Webster. They fucking should. How Sony and Microsoft didn't think to make a new mobile console after the Switch absolutely fucking ripped the market wide open. Did you hear the Nintendo news? I've heard about the Switch. The Switch made more profit than the entire company's history prior to the release. Oh, yeah. That doesn't surprise me. This chat is rocking. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Thank you, guys. 91 people in here. This is pretty good. I haven't had numbers like this since RE4 Remake. So thank you for turning up the chat. Live service games hurt the industry, in my opinion, completely changed their goals, and we get unfinished games and less content updated. You're not wrong, Conflicts. I'm not saying all live service games are bad, but I will say this. A lot of companies, and that's why Sony, look what Sony said earlier this year, PS5 is end of life. Stellar Blade is our last game coming out this year. I think they have a couple more, barely. And they said, we don't have any more games until next year. Like, we are done because they're trying to reevaluate. They literally said they're trying to reevaluate how they approach games, which means they're trying to go more live service. Helldivers 2 made them a lot of money. Sony isn't going to spend millions and millions of dollars on single player games. If you guys think they're going to keep doing that, they're losing their ass on single player games. Look at the amount of PS5 sold and look how many people actually buy the exclusive games that are on there, that are also on PC. It's very small. But unfortunately, like you said, the live service thing is where these companies are going to go, including Sony. I'm sorry, but single players are dying off, man, for this live service shit. They don't want to spend the money. This is the reality we're in 2024. We can't run from it. We can't deny it. These companies come out and say these things themselves. And we are sitting here as customers saying, what the fuck? Why did we spend $500 on your console when it's been 4 years and we've gotten literal dick that's been memorable or worth to be put on the shelf, for Christ's sake? So there you go. Starfield will be on PS5 and it will be optimized for PS5. It will probably run better than the Series X, even though the Series S is supposed to be the better console as far as performance. But here we are. You know what I mean? There's no fucking excuse, but they don't let it happen. But it will be on there. Only 69 likes. Hit that like button. Yeah, smash that like button. What are we doing? Brian, that depends on Silent Hill 2 remake. We'll see if that continues to do it. You know what I mean? I don't know. And yeah, Peter, I don't think it's going to last much longer. Really need to support Silent Hill 2 more than ever. Bring back single player games and make them great. Yeah, I mean, look, single player games should come back. You know, in a big way. Best RE channel and chat. Wouldn't expect anything else. Thank you, Nick Noguera. Sad Gaming is going mobile. It is. It is. There's a remake of Medieval 2 rumor floating around, and I love... oh, yeah. Dude, Medieval 2? I'm down. I'm there. I actually just have to agree. I just talked about it with Dustin. MMORPGs are about to come back big time in the next 10 years. Yeah, I mean, it's just... It sucks that that's where we are. Yeah, live service, Brian, is just a game that's always updated. Yeah, like Suicide Squad, Justice League, live service game, Helldivers, live service. It's always being kind of updated with these, like, you know, events, challenges. You know, it's co-op most of the time. I just want Xbox to hand over Nintendo to rare IPs. I still want Banjo. Yeah, I know, right? A lot of people do. RWK is late. It's all good. Mr. Rice has 69 likes. I know it's probably a big hot take, but I also think Game Pass formula needs to go across the board. Well, that's the thing. I mean, look, now that PlayStation is on it, John, as well, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? It's not going anywhere. I don't think it is, because even if Xbox goes away, Game Pass is here to stay. Because guess what? You could play Game Pass. In the future, you're going to be able to play Game Pass on PlayStation. You're going to be able to play Game Pass on Nintendo and PC. People don't understand that's what's happening. Like, you could play Game Pass on your Samsung TV. You could play... They don't care where you play. They just want you on Game Pass. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that that's where gaming is going. And once you saw the turn, and PlayStation did it too, that's it. That's it. They're going to keep doing it. Pays the studios more money than they bring in, and Microsoft loses money. Well, they're not losing. That's the thing. Microsoft as an entity is never losing money, John. They're never losing money. They're always gaining money. But what they shut down is because they're trying to push for the mobile space. They're not shutting down because they're hemorrhaging money. They're not. They're always making money. Microsoft as an entity, not the Xbox brand, but Microsoft as an entity, and that money floats down to those things. But that's it. You just cancel your Game Pass, cancel your subscriptions, do what you got to do. I won't be on Game Complainers tonight. I have to actually wrap it up in like 8 minutes. I got to go to bed. I got to drive to Pittsburgh. I am visiting not this John in the chat, but my other friend John in Pittsburgh. So, yeah, you got to vote with your wallets, you know. Hopefully Silent Hill 2 is good. Anthony's helping Dreadpool bury Fred's body. Damn. Yeah, 92 people in here. That's not bad. You know, it's not bad at all. Actually, it's amazing. I'm very grateful. So thank you guys for joining this chat. You know, yeah, them getting involved would be a bad idea. I agree. Yeah, it's thank you for that $2 super chat, Ryan Fain. And, yeah, thanks for everybody for, you know, hanging out. Lucius is in here too. By the way, clear your desk and you're done. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't agree. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Enjoy your time in the Steel City. I know, right? It is the Steel City. It'll be raining a little bit, but, you know, it won't be too bad. It won't be too bad. But, yeah, I could take questions probably for another, like, 5 minutes, and then I got to run. Like I said, I usually like to keep these, you know, around 2 hours, but I do have to go. Thank goodness. Thought you were going to go to give Phil Spencer... Going to give Phil Spencer a hand. Yes, exactly. 16 months, RWK. Thanks for being a member. The only issue is having RE9 being revealed at the PlayStation event is that it would overshadow Silent Hill 2. I don't think so. I think Silent Hill 2 is going to... I think Resident Evil fans are going to buy Silent Hill 2, if anything. Thunders gifted another membership to Conflakes. Thank you. You're welcome, bro. You said you're about to get off, so I must call it at the end. Yeah, you know, 5 more minutes. You guys can ask questions about RE9, Resident Evil. I'll give you guys 5 minutes, and then I got to wrap it up. I got to take this melatonin and pass the fuck out. Always good to see you, Ant. So, Sweet Trim, before you shoot off, you think it would be cop-out if they brought Wesker back somehow? You mean, yeah, we're kind of talking about that, like if it was like more of like a fucking like a clone, you know what I mean? But why the fuck would Capcom care about Silent Hill? If anything, they would want it to overshadow it. That's true. They don't give a fuck. They're like, yo, Sony, we play nice with you. We're gonna fucking show this shit at your event. We don't give a fuck. That event is just gonna be more memorable if all those things are there. But I don't know, Sweet Trim. I don't mind if they brought back Wesker in that kind of way, because I think it was a mistake to fully kill him off anyway. But maybe they could do it better. Phil Spencer isn't the problem. He's just he's just shitty for lying to people. He's a used car salesman. You know what I mean? So you know, we're all salespeople. John can attest to this. We can smell bullshit. You can't bullshit a bullshitter. We were salespeople for Best Buy for 5-6 years, you know, if not more, some of us. So we kind of know the ins and outs. Like, you can't lie through your teeth at us. And that's what he was doing. That's what these people were doing. You know what I mean? And he's doing this corporate song and dance. Thank you, Nick Noguera. Appreciate that. Enjoy Pittsburgh, Anthony. It's great city besides Philly. And drive safe. We don't need more horror games that could make more money off a great money maker. No problem, Angel. In fact, I'm only 30 minutes away from Philly, so believe me, I know the Philly traffic. It's not even that bad. Pittsburgh over there isn't too bad in that part of Pennsylvania. No, keep Wesker dead. That would be a cop-out. I want some creative writers to make something else. Just like Borderlands needs to keep Handsome Jack dead too. That's fair. Konami, the bacon strip team, says Kay. Notice that CEOs are always the people that take the fall. Exactly. Making video games are about be like movies where they put that together, a team, make something and completely disband after they're done. It happens a lot. It happens a lot. Blizzard, Microsoft, Nintendo, even with the Vita, even with Iwata's Wii U failure. I mean, Iwata's the Wii U, that was a shitty fucking time for Nintendo. So we talk about the dark days of Capcom. Dark days of Nintendo, right there. Which is kind of around the same time, if you really think about it. It's funny to me, Silent 2 was announced with RE4, and then RE4 was released with the DLC, and now we're talking about the next RE, and Silent Hill 2 is still not here. That is true. That is true. It's because someone has to. It's easier to blame a name than an entire organization, especially when people have tribalism tendencies. That's true. And, even Phil Spencer, I mean, like he said in the one podcast, he's like, I get paid too much for my job. He even admitted it. He said it on a show. So it's like his time's numbered. Microsoft's time's numbered, and, that's that. But, yeah, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me. I wanted to keep this a little brief just because I do have to get sleep. But enjoy the content that's coming out while I'm away. It's already scheduled for members, so you can watch it right now. If you are a member, you can watch the videos that are going to be coming out in a couple of days. Because that's what happens when you're a member. You get perks, bitches, perks. Matthew Webster, thank you for the $3, $2. One gifted membership from Nick. 12 months of Jeff M. 32 months of K. Thank you. Ryan Fane with the 2. RWK with the 16 months. Thunders with the 1. Really, really appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, the fans online are never fucking happy. People are starting to jump ship, and that's what happens when you got to vote with your fucking wallets, my guys. So thank you so much for watching, hearing me shoot the shit about Resident Evil, this PS event, and just gaming in general. Please check out the Game Complainers tonight, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. I will be asleep by then, but check out the show. It's going to be a stacked fucking show. Go over there, subscribe. It's going to be a crazy panel. My brother Nick is going to be filling in for me and other people. So that's it. So thank you guys. Much love. I'll catch you guys next week with another stream. Enjoy the content while I'm away. Some video content for you guys to consume. And I will catch you guys next week. Take care.